Well, more big news coming from NASCAR last week. They announced a new 7-year, $7.7 billion TV deal that features the CW, Fox, Amazon, TNT, and NBC. Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
What was the old deal? Does anybody know?
It was 4 channels. This is
But it was, what I'm saying, money-wise, 10 years?
400 million, 10 years, something like that.
Oh, 400 million. Oh, wow. So this is a big jump.
I don't know. It was a bunch of money for 10 years.
Yeah, we got all kind of channels. And it was, if I thought we got away, like when we went to like a network deal, it was because it was hard to find. Like it was on TNT. It was kind of all over the place. And now we are right back to being all over the place. And and what's even worse, I think, is like I saw a chart the other day about where to find it for practice and qualifying. And that was basically all streaming, wasn't it?
That's my biggest fear.
Like,
that's my biggest concern.
There's nowhere to find any of that stuff. Or, I mean, you gotta search for it. So, I don't know. I'm glad that there's more money coming in, and that's obviously or hopefully going to help everybody. Hopefully that this will give the teams a bigger chunk, and they could finally afford to pay us more money.
You calling out
I'm
Denny?
going to tell you what they don't
Calling
plan
out
to do.
Denny?
Is share it with you.
Oh, they're not going to share it? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about my raise. I've been waiting.
Probably can keep waiting for a while.
Probably. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, hopefully this injection of money helps the sport. But if that's how you had to go to get the money, that's how you got to do it. But it just seems like we're kind of scattered across the board here. I don't know what the CW broadcast is going to look like. I tried to watch. I think there's a couple football games on there that I tried to watch.
Super high def.
The football games weren't bad. And it's going to be NASCAR production, so I'm assuming that it's going to be the same as what everything else is.
More consistent, yeah.
For sure.
So it'll just be interesting to see what they have as far as hosts and stuff like that. But listen, it just seems like it's going to be a challenge finding some of the content you want to watch.
I think like the real diehard fans, right, that are really locked in are going to know where to find every single thing. That the fans that want to watch practice, right?
Like they're going to know.
But the problem is, like you talking about the diehard fan that wants to watch practice, does he have HBO Max?
Well, the good thing is with a lot of these things, you can get them if you want them, and you don't have to have other stuff. So I'm kind of spot on. I'm optimistic about it because it might open the door for a lot more people to have access to it, and obviously it's a pretty big deal. So I don't think NASCAR would do it if they couldn't give people access to it. I think they want to please the fan. I think they want to get it out there. And I think they've done their homework and seen obviously they've been through with these people.
I just know, like going back, like my dad would want to watch everything. If my dad wouldn't be able to find practice qualifying.
There's like diehard fans and there's veteran fans.
Yeah,
right?
your dad.
Differences here, right?
I mean? Yeah, but
veterans I don't know what channel. I'm flipping through the channels.
20 years ago, your dad wasn't worried about where he's going to watch the streaming stuff at. You know what I mean? Times are turning, and I think it's going in that direction, and I don't think there's any stopping it. I think it's just going that way, and I think we just have to adapt and hope people do as well.
I think now more than ever, teams, we talked about this before, teams, drivers, sponsors, NASCAR itself, they have provided more content on social media than they ever had before, which is giving them that access, right? Second, I mean, we talk about the sport and the growth and popularity of it. Who would have thought all of these, broadcasts and all of these networks were interested in the sport and want to help it grow, right? I mean, that is a good sign for the sport. If I were a sponsor, I would look at that and say, well, if people are interested, if they think that we're going to have the viewership, which these networks do, obviously, then since they bought into it, then, that's a sign of growth within our sport, which I feel like we've had more of than we've ever had.
It'd be cool if we had like crossover where like the NBA on TNT guys come out to the race and
Supercross.
Shaq's
I've seen you stand next to basketball players.
Yeah,
we don't need
Shaq
any
and,
more out there for you.
Yeah, Michael's already really tall, right? But Shaq's like a whole nother level, right?
Spud Webb.
Next to all the drivers.
Dude, Shaq is gigantic. Holy cow.
We used to have one of his shoes, and
It's in Mike Davis' office. Yeah, I'm telling you.
He was having a blast on the grid walk at the
F1,
Las Vegas
dude, that
race.
was so funny.
Did you see
and
when
he
he came
kept
to
blowing that
Concord?
guy off? That was so funny.
Did you see
Here's
Everyone
the
loves
Concord.
to blow him
Before
off.
y'all go talk
tell
about
you
Shaq's feet size,
you know what they say.
Here's he wears big socks.
Close.
My
Rhymes.
favorite thing about this whole TV package is it appears NASCAR got more money, which is awesome. That's big for the teams. It's big for the charter members. It's big for the next 7 years of the sport. I think that's awesome. The fans are saying, our spoiled fans, according to Joey Logano, are saying that, it's in too many places. I don't want to hear that. I really don't, because you have a smartphone that if you say, what NASCAR channel do I need to watch today to watch qualifying, it's going to tell you. And if you don't have a smartphone, then just follow Bob Pockrass on Twitter, because every week he tweets out exactly where everything is
Can't
going
really follow
to be.
Bob if you don't have a smartphone, because you won't have Twitter.
Well, you got a computer. You can figure out where it's going to be, what channel it's going to be on, what time it's going to be on. So I don't want to hear the complaining about that. Here's my struggle. I'm 48 years old. I don't have Peacock. I don't have Amazon Prime. I grew up coming
You got
home
8 kids and you don't have Amazon Prime?
Nope.
You should.
Not on Brett Griffin's iPad, nor on my television.
Someone in your house has Amazon
So
Prime.
when I come home from college and I wanted to watch practice, which I did on every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern, I can't do that now because I don't have the subscriptions for it. When I want to watch qualifying at a bar, if I go to Milf's, which it's Uncle Milf's is the name of it. It's not being.
Okay.
I don't
Well, I
think
mean,
that's
that's
actually
not
the name
even
of it.
that's
It's
not
Lake
even the
Norman
name of
Tavern.
it.
But
Okay,
yeah.
it's Lake Norman Tavern, but what do we call it, Tyler?
Yeah, everyone calls it that.
We
Yeah.
call it what I said,
Yeah.
Uncle Milf's.
You never see any in there. I don't know why.
I
it's
mean, my
called
little
that.
guy's 11. He'd go, Dad, can we go to Milf's to get a cheeseburger? And I'm like, sure. But anyway.
One day he's gonna say,
but
"What
when
is
I walk
Milf's?"
into Milf's on Friday afternoon and I want to watch qualifying, they're not going to have it on. Like that, my struggle is, what if I want to watch it and A, my device doesn't get it because I don't subscribe to that, or B, I'm in a bar that doesn't show it. I mean, Freddie and I were in, where were we at in to watch the Clash that year? What beach were we at?
Santa Monica Pier.
Santa Monica Pier. We left Santa Monica Pier. The race is 5-7 miles away, according to the guy in Belize that Freddie's buddies with. We get there 45 minutes later in a $2,000 Uber ride, and we literally there's 10 TVs in there, and we say, hey man, can you put on the NASCAR race? Oh, is it around here? Yeah, it is actually. It's at LA Coliseum. Boom, we put it on. We watch it. I'm afraid that can't happen anymore. That's what I'm worried about.
I think those need to evolve as well, though. You know, like places like that need to evolve with the times as well.
Yeah, but
And
that's expensive.
I'm not saying maybe there's some sort of package that gets worked out with places like that, bars, restaurants, and things. Like DirecTV, they made a package for bars
They
and
pay
restaurants.
per seat. They pay out the ass. And I actually was having drinks with Doug and his girlfriend Gina, and she was like, "Oh, it ain't a big deal. You just stream it right to the bar." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think it works that
I
way."
remember
in
my
the
buddy
restaurant
owns the
business.
bars in a couple bars in Georgia, and you literally have to pay like whatever. It's I think it was like a UFC fight, and it's
Yeah.
$39.99. You got to pay that, like you got to pay some absorbent amount of money per seat at capacity. So
Jeez.
it's you know it's
You know what they need to do is do a deal like Touch Tunes. You go in there, you can touch tunes the TV with put Apple
whatever you want
TVs
on.
on there. You want to watch that TV? You
that's
touch
a bad
tune.
idea because Dale will be changing the channel.
Jesus,
You'd
that's the worst idea I've ever heard.
Dale
on,
will be
man,
There's
in
gonna be
there.
a bar fight over the channel.
Imagine going to MILFs and having control of whatever you wanted on that TV with your phone.
That'd be a hell of a channel to watch
Hey.
at MILFs.
Hey,
Somebody
man,
sitting in
wouldn't-
the corner
wouldn't it be
just
fun?
Changing the channel every 5 minutes.
Listen, I think it's great for owners. I think it's great for NASCAR. I think it's great for tracks. We don't know what the division looks like in terms of the money yet. I know a lot of people a lot smarter than me are going to figure that out. I think it's good for drivers. I lived the era of the highest paid drivers in NASCAR history. I watched rookies come in and get massive contracts to drive race cars. Now I'm watching rookies come in and get crappy, and owners and general managers and presidents that are going to hear me say this, I don't care. It pisses me off that a guy goes out there and works 40 weekends a year, risks his life, works endless hours in a simulator, works at a test, does things for you, obviously races on the weekend, and he can make $500,000 driving a cup car. That pisses me off because I grew up in the era where guys were making $10 million plus driving a race car. In no other sport do I see their athletes, i.e. major league anything, going backwards from a finance perspective. And Tyler, you don't want to speak to this, that upsets me. I think the good news is guys like Denny Hamlin, who have been drivers in the sport and made a lot of money, he made a lot of money driving a race car. It is awesome for him to get to be an owner. When Dale Earnhardt owned DEI, Dale Jr.'s initial Cup Series salary coming in as a rookie was bank. I ain't going to say how much money it was. It was bank. So for me, seeing guys like the younger guys like Denny, obviously Michael Jordan, how much money Michael Jordan made playing ball? Billions?
I'd imagine a lot.
So for me, like I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of us seeing more money come back in because it should be shared with the teams. It should be shared with the drivers. I don't know how far down the ladder it gets to, unfortunately, crew guys and spotters and that kind of thing, but I'm a big fan of money.
So I was looking at this on Reddit this morning, and
Sorry, I turned red right there. I got upset.
Reddit. I guess on the money lap, Adam Stern said something about like the deal. If the deal's not done by Daytona, you could see teams essentially striking. Like
No chance Daytona 500.
Not Daytona, but he said like, and then not so much striking as just doing things during the race to show their displeasure with the fact that this deal's not done yet. And I don't see that happening.
Like
I
what?
I don't either.
The problem is they won't all do it.
They won't all do it. Somebody wants to win the race. Like you just say, all right, here when they throw the green flag, we're coming down pit road the first time.
Let's say all the A drivers say we're going to do it. Let's say Justin Haley says I'll do it, and Corey LaJoy says I'm not doing it. Like it screws the whole thing up. So I don't see that.
I don't see all them.
Me neither. I don't see everybody banding together.
But speaking back to last year, Tyler, I'd love to hear your perspective on this because last year we were sitting here worried about the safety of this car. Mm-hmm. NASCAR made massive gains, right?
Yeah. No, it's been a lot better for sure. Obviously it's tricky, right? Like with where the direction we went with the chassis, the parts, everything, right? It takes more time to implement those changes. But yeah, it's made good strides in helping, the driver and the, I guess, the absorption of that
Energy.
heavy car,
Yeah.
that energy getting
Yeah.
absorbed in deflection and all that sort of stuff.
They
It's
made
been
big
great
changes.
for us.
Well, we sat here with Jamie McMurray, who obviously isn't driving this car, and he's like, man, if I'm a driver, I'm going to really focus on my compartment, my headrest, my helmet, my things I can control. NASCAR went to work on the things they could help these teams with, and we're not sitting here. I mean, a year and a half ago, Freddie and I would go out for a beer or have dinner or talk on the phone, and we would literally be worried about you guys when you would wreck. I mean, the Kurt Busch wreck, it didn't look bad.
No, the ones that don't are
Didn't
like
even
that's,
Bowman.
That's the scary part. Like they didn't
that's
look
the crazy
bad.
part.
Tyler
like,
had to park at Martinsville.
From
I
getting hit on a
ran
restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, like, kudos to NASCAR for what they did on the safety side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they
it's
made
not
huge
even an
changes.
issue now. I mean, it's not even on the radar now anymore. I mean, it's always on the radar, but it's not an issue. So
Yeah, I hope that they can get. I mean, going back to the TV thing, I hope this thing's a positive for everybody. I just don't understand the fans that are out there worried about, well, I don't know what channel to find it on. Well, good God Almighty, you can Google directions on how to drive from here to Bozeman, Montana. Surely to God you can figure out what channel
You're
it's
talking to
on.
one of our friends right now. You know.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a lot of friends.
and look, NASCAR doesn't want to hide the racing from you.
No.
You know, they want you to see the racing.
But I'm
so
worried
this is-
you find out where it's at and you go, well, I don't have that. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
I'm
you
worried
know how
about.
it goes, right? Like I feel like I'm guilty of this when I watch other sports, or when I'm pulling up my phone and want to watch practice or whatever it is. If you just aren't, if you last minute like I'm going to jump in and watch this and you haven't thought about it or thought it through, right? You're going to be jumping around trying to find it. But thankfully, Casey, y'all at Xfinity have given me a lot of good.
He gave you the
A lot of good options to watch pretty much every race with the app. So I've been, I thankfully, when I can't really figure it out, I've always got that to go to and I'll find it there.